Okay, so I am so excited today because we are doing the second part of a three-part interview series with Laurian. Did I say it right? Please tell me I said it right.
Yes, Laurian. Yes, you did.
I'm sorry, but sometimes I'm a little challenged with these foreign names, and I want so much to get it right, and then sometimes it just doesn't work. Laurian.
Even in my native language, Eva, even Romanians find Laurian challenging to be said and expressed. I've
Wow,
only met two other people with my name in my entire lifetime.
really?
Yes, it's not a common name in Romania.
It's
It's a
you're
name
very
that,
special then. You're very
yes, I
special.
am. Yes. Growing up, I maybe hate is a strong word, but as a kid, I was hating it.
Sure.
And for the past few years, I've learned to embrace it because it's so unique and has so much power and frequency and vibration to it. But as a kid was a different story.
Oh, for sure. I was the same way. I didn't love my name when I was a kid, but I changed it.
Yeah. Yeah. And well, I've just realized something right now. I I can't believe this. This is the first time when I'm saying this out loud. It was not that when I was growing up, I hated my name. When I was growing up, I didn't love myself. Like I just didn't love myself. I just realized that I was projecting it on the name. It didn't had nothing to do with the name. I've never had self-love as a tool as a kid. I discovered it as an adult. It didn't existed in Romania. It didn't existed in my family. I just realized that it was never the name. I just
Is-
didn't love myself.
Isn't that amazing? Because you know what? I was the same way. I didn't love
Wow.
myself. I didn't love where I lived. I didn't love like you name it. Like there, but yet I was a loving kid. Like I was a really
Yeah.
loving kid, but there was just so much about because we think so much that our environment is or our location or our like you said our name or our bodies, right? Or our hair, because I'm challenged with my hair today. We think that these are the things that we don't like or that we hate. And really, you're right. I think it's true. It comes down to I
Yeah.
didn't love myself. So why would I
Yeah.
like anything about myself as far as that goes, right?
Exactly. You said hair, and you literally pushed me into second grade, third grade, fourth grade, when I'm looking for the first time in my life to like arrange my hair as a boy, and it just looks awful. But even if it looked great, because I was not loving myself, whatever I did to my hair, I was projecting saying it's awful and I hate it. Wow.
God. Well, by you having that reminiscent moment, then you've just taken me back to my childhood where I was the same way. I spent hours in front of the mirror trying to make my hair bigger and beautiful and doing this to that and that and makeup on, makeup off, makeup on, makeup off, and looking in the mirror and wondering, how come I'm so fat? Why do I have to be so overweight? I don't like this. Why can't I be skinny like her? And then it's so interesting. I don't know if you've experienced this, but I look back now at old pictures.
And I'm stunning.
I just look back at old pictures and go, I wasn't even fat. I mean, I was a solid, bigger. They always said, "Oh, you're not fat. You're just large bone." And I just figured that's the way that they were trying to make me feel better. So I didn't feel so bad
Yeah.
about being fat. But when I look back at like my high school picture, I was an athlete, right? So I look back on my pictures and go, I wasn't even fat. I've gained so
Yeah.
much weight over the years compared to then. And I'm just like, what the hell was I thinking? But again, it's it comes down to our perceptions. And when you have that belief or that lack of self-love, then of course you're gonna look in the mirror and you're gonna hate what you see. right?
Yeah. And I hear you. In my perception, my entire childhood, I was the chubby kid, which is so distorted, Eva, because I was an athlete. I played professional football, but I grew up when I was like maybe 4 or 5, maybe again just having a different body type. I was a bit more muscular than other kids, but my brother called me fat, and I accepted his projection, and my entire distorted consciousness has accepted that I grew up being the chubby kid. But when I look at my pictures, I was like fit and strong and like I was never chubby. Like I have no idea where that perception became so distorted. But as we said, I'm starting to realize it was just me not loving myself and projecting it on something so innocent as my human body, which is
Mhm.
so silly right now.
Isn't it though? Like it's amazing to me how much we well, that's growth, right? That's how we grow. We and then it's just oh my God, I can't even believe how much we have in common. Honestly, because I was the chubby kid too, right? That's what I was called, chubby. Like you just when I was little, I was chubby,
Yeah,
right? And then as I
yeah,
get older, oh, you're just large boned, right? And seriously, but we compare ourselves to other people in our lives, right? And
yeah,
it's so true. You're bang on. We take on other people's perception of us as
yeah.
well. And then that just and then you add in what we're going to be talking about in this interview more, but you add in all of the trauma from being in a womb with a woman who's in huge self-hatred or anxiety and
Yes,
stress and all these terrible, I say terrible, but they're human emotions, right? But all these emotions that we take on. So if it started
yes,
there, is it any wonder that at 10 or 12 or 15 years old we're looking in the mirror and hating on ourselves, right? Like to
yes,
now it makes sense, but can you
yes,
imagine, Larry? Can you imagine if people were taught this at a very young age? Like, imagine that the pain
wow,
and suffering that would not occur for them if we could
yes,
get this into the minds of the children, right?
wow.
I know I could have used it when I was a kid.
Yep. Imagine a world where someone would have said to me when I was 7 or 10, "Hey, look, when you were in the womb, you probably absorbed an ocean of suppressed anxiety from your whole mother's line, her mom, your mom, and maybe 6 generations backwards, because they've never integrated or healed their suppressed anxiety. They never healed and suppressed their suppressed depression. So probably when you were developing in the womb, you were just swimming in cortisol, adrenaline, in an ocean of suppressed anxiety and depression. And the reason you feel like that today, that's not your depression, that's not your anxiety, that's what you absorbed in the womb and then from your parents growing up. Because anxiety and depression is an energy that you absorb. It doesn't exist in you. It's not something in the present moment. It's a program and conditioning, an intergenerational, transgenerational trauma that we absorb.
I totally feel that. Like I'm a little bit emotional today anyway. I had a good cry a couple hours ago. But let me tell you, what you just spoke right there, there's so much truth in that, you know? And I don't know about but I have had this desire to try to prevent suffering in people.
Yeah.
I just want so much. I want it so much to prevent suffering in people. And then there's that other side of me that's sort of like, yeah, but that suffering, maybe that is part of their journey. But then
Yeah.
you could also say, yeah, but maybe part of the overall journey is for people like us to help educate these people about the fact they don't need to carry that suffering, and then we could break the cycle, right? Break that
Yeah.
generational. See, I'm getting a big yes right now. I always get it right here
Yeah.
on the from the other side, and I'm getting a
Yes.
big yes, big yes right
Yes.
now from the other side.
Yes.
They're going, that's right, we are meant to
Yes.
break the cycle, we're not supposed to
Yes.
continue it, right?
Yes. Break the cycle and share the information,
Yes.
and whoever hears it means they were meant to hear it at 10, or maybe their mother is supposed to hear it when she's pregnant so she can heal and integrate, and not allow that embryo to swim in an ocean of anxiety. That's my mission, Eva. My whole mission right now in this reality is embryological awareness. I'm going to write as many books as possible, so when a woman is pregnant, she's instantly revered as a queen, as creation, as creator, not just by the husband, by the whole building, by the community, by the government. She gets instant paid holiday. Doesn't matter where she works. You find out you're pregnant, you have a God in your womb. Each day is crucial. You stay at home and your entire community reveres you as a queen.
That would be just the most amazing blessing and the most amazing, oh, what's the word, gift that humanity, I think, needs. um
Yes.
yeah,
Yes.
if we're going to really break this chain, right, at a
Yes.
collective level, you know. Oh,
My whole nervous system has started communicating
tingling.
with me right now. I'm getting goosebumps from my toes to my ears.
Me
That's
too.
how I know. Yes,
Hmm.
yes, speak your truth, express your authenticity. You have the power to create your reality, to create that world where a whole world comes after a generation of humans being nurtured in the womb with self-love, not cortisol, not anxiety, not depression.
And you know what, Laurian, I'm sorry. The reason that I think we can, well, I know the reason we can speak to that is because we both had that experience. A lot of people have, but not everybody's had the experience of going back to the womb and seeing
Yes.
what it really was. Like, we can be told things, right? Like, I'm sure you were told stories from your parents about what happened while she was pregnant, all that. But to actually go and go back, right, and re-experience what that was all about, I mean, there's so much power in that. And
Yes.
I don't even want to, I don't even know how to express it, except that having experienced that firsthand the way that we have, it gives us the authority, is not the right word. It gives us the, maybe you can tell me what the word is. It gives us almost not even permission, but
Falling in love with the word agency,
uh-huh. Yes,
does
I
it
get it.
apply here? Does it
Possibly,
apply here?
possibly, yes. But it gives us um having had that experience, it gives us, it allows us, that's the word I'm looking for, it allows us to be able to share that with other people in
Yes.
a way that somebody who's just having read it from a book, or somebody who, might have got learned about something in a training or whatever, but really didn't have an experience of, having that extreme trauma while they were in the womb, like you and I both have.
Yeah.
I mean, it really is different. I don't care what anybody says. It's different when you have had that
Yes.
experience, right?
Yes. It
Yeah.
changes everything
Yeah.
forever.
everything. And I know that anybody who's going to be listening to this, I know that even just listening up to this point, there's so many people, and I'll say particularly women, and it's not because men don't have it. It's just it'll be more likely that it'll be women watching this initially. I know
Yeah.
that. I just know that. But I know they're going to be going, yes, yes, that's what it is. That's why I feel the way I do.
Yes. Yes.
And that's
Yes.
already happened.
Yes.
I've had people calling me. Now I have people want me to interview them because they have stories that they now feel, because you shared yours, they now feel more empowered to be able to share their own.
Yeah.
And that's a beautiful
Yeah.
thing.
Yes.
That's a
It's
beautiful
healing, it's
thing.
integration.
It
It's
is.
on so many levels.
Yes, it really is.
And
So we've already gone through the fact that you were living in Romania, sorry, your parents were living in Romania when your mom got pregnant with you. You know, you shared that she had already had a couple of abortions, right? Up to leading
yeah.
up to that. And the first thought they had was to have another abortion, and that
Yes.
the reasoning wasn't because they didn't love their children or that they didn't want to have a family. It was actually because of the circumstances of the time, right?
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
do think there would be a lot of value in you just kind of reiterating what those circumstances were. Does
Yeah.
it, would that be okay with you?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay.
My conception unfolds in 1987, which is still under the powerful communist regime in Romania.
Mhm.
Nobody had free kids. It was just crazy because you had to stay in line at 5 a.m. to get a liter of oil, some milk, and some bread to go home and eat. The whole country was rationed. I have no idea why. Nobody knows exactly why. The the concept was because Romania was paying their debt to the European Union or something like that. So the whole country was rationed. Imagine 15, 20 million people staying in line every morning for a piece of bread, some oil, and some milk. And my parents had enough, had already two kids for 5 years. It felt crazy for them to bring another third one into the world. So they had already two abortions before me. And then again, I arrived a third time. And of course, the decision was the same. We're still under this powerful communist regime. People are dying in the street if they express any kind of word against the regime. We don't have any heating in the house. Food is rationed. That's not life. That's being like in a prison.
That's
And
torture.
emotionally that must be completely destroying a person's spirit and consciousness. So here I was, the third one. The moment when they realized, I mean, my mother's womb, both of them just, they told me the story, they looked at each other, they nodded their head, and they agreed in silence, abortion. And in that moment, I can tell you the story like that in 1987 and simultaneously in 2020 when I'm on the bed for craniosacral therapy, I can feel what my inner embryo is feeling in my body in the present moment of 2020, and I can feel what the embryo felt in the womb, in my mother's womb in 1987. Viscerally, the
Yes.
pain of rejection, viscerally, energetically being abandoned by life. And in a subtle, really energetic way, I'm afraid of dying because somehow I feel that I'm rejected and abandoned and I'm about to die. They are going to end my life. And I feel that. It followed me for 33 years chronically in my nervous system. This powerful anxiety, fear of, I don't even know what it was, but it was in my nervous system. And I only discovered it 33 years later on that table,
And see, I think
experiencing
that's
biodynamic
I think
musical
that's super
therapy.
important that you're mentioning that, because I really think it's important for people to understand that when we have these kinds of traumatic experiences, they get trapped in our tissues,
Yes.
right? They do
Yes.
physically get trapped in our tissues.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. That abandonment wound
Yeah.
got like glued to my bones, to my fascia, to my skin for the next 33 years. Even in friendly situations, when someone was expressing healthy boundaries or I got fired from a meaningless job, I will feel so much abandonment because it will trigger and resonate with my inner embryo who felt waves of abandonment. So, whatever I experienced in my life, even if it was this small, I felt like a tsunami of abandonment. It didn't had nothing to do with the present moment, and I was going crazy because people will express healthy boundaries in front of me, and I would feel waves of abandonment like I'm about to die.
That the
And
word would
nobody
be
had any
triggered.
answer.
Triggered, right?
Triggered. Yeah.
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 Yeah. And I wouldn't have any answer to why do I feel so abandoned because I didn't experience in my intellectual conscious life abandonment to that level.
Right.
But I felt waves of it, oceans of abandonment, like my world is about to end. That suicide became like a playful solution to my abandonment in the moment. Like it just felt unbearable to exist in such powerful abandonment. It was painfully, viscerally uncomfortable to exist.
Well, let me tell you, I'll tell you how it played out in my life. Well, just in one way that it played out in my life. For me, it was this extreme fear of death. I
Yes.
had no idea where it was coming from. I didn't. I thought sometimes I was crazy because I'm like, why do I fear death so intensely? Right? Beyond the normal kind of fear of death, you know? I remember one night I just started having this panic attack lying in bed, and my kids were in their bed, they were sleeping, and I got overwhelmed and I just started breathing heavy and panicking. And I remember going out to the couch and just being and crying and just being like I'm gonna die. And it upset my children. And that was a turning point for me because I was like, okay, I gotta figure this out because this is just not normal at all, at all. And at the time, like you, I used craniosacral therapy, somatic emotional release to work that fear out, and then did more work on it later. But it at least it resolved it enough that I could just it calmed my nervous system down enough using those tools that I could just breathe through it and logically go, no, this isn't what this is about, right? And just kind of, but the panic and fear, like I was probably 30 or 31 by the time that finally started to get resolved. But up to that point, I totally get what you're saying. You just have these moments, and logically, you would know that this is why? I don't
Yes. Nothing
understand.
is happening to that
Yeah,
degree.
it's silly. Yeah. but
Yes.
but again, you have since learned what that was because you utilized those tools to facilitate going back to the womb and re-experiencing
Yeah.
it. To So can you describe what that was like, going back, like how you did it, what you used, how that all worked, because I think people would be interested to know.
Well, first of all, in that session, that was not the intention of the craniosacral session.
It's usually
It's
how it
just
works,
something
isn't
that,
it?
yes, like, yes, we were connecting to some embryological patterns, connecting to the umbilical cord, to the energetic one and the physiological one. And then out of nowhere, my body started shaking physically, physiologically on the bed. And I started feeling waves of abandonment. And luckily, the therapist was just holding space in this really powerful, empathic way. So thank you, Alex. And he started asking me some questions that I don't even recall right now. And I was able to project myself in the present moment of 1987 and feeling the abandonment of the rejection of not being wanted as an embryo. And I've never had that in my life consciously. I thought I was deeply wanted, but I felt that, and my body started shaking. My organs were churning and twisting and contracting and expanding and contracting. And it felt like being reborn, undone, to be done again. It was just so powerful that language could barely explain the visceral energetic experience on the bed of me releasing the energy stamp of abandonment, of rejection, and fear of anxiety of death on such a cellular level. And the session went on. Like the whole session was just me convulsing on the bed, releasing that energy stamp. To a certain degree, it felt like a quantum jump for me. Like when I got down from the bed, I was a different human body. Like I had a different matrix. My embryological matrix changed. My physiological matrix in the present moment changed. My shoulders were wider. My chest was expanding. It felt like being reborn.
Wow.
I cried of happiness and gratefulness after the session.
And isn't it just such a beautiful, because I can relate to this, right? For sure. It's such a beautiful thing to be able to be in such a safe space to
Yes.
allow that kind of release to happen. And I will say, the we certainly learned how to do that as cranial psychotherapists, how to hold that space for
Yes.
people. I always say I had help from the other side, so it wasn't all me, that's for sure. But ultimately, I mean, to have that, because when we are traumatized from in the womb, like we're talking
Yes.
about, you don't feel safe, do you?
No. I've never felt inner body safety my entire life to the point of 33, 34 when I discovered the gestational trauma, the inner embryo being deeply traumatized. Until that moment, I've never had inner body safety. My consciousness was completely under the fog of trauma. My consciousness was deeply programmed and conditioned in those 3D matrix, and the pain was so dense. The ocean of anxiety that existed within my field from when I was three, 4, 5, 6, I could feel it. I didn't have a name for it, but my body was heavy energetically in a way that only now I'm starting to see and understand. And only now I see that my embryological life just programmed my health for life, programmed my nervous system for life, conditioned my consciousness for life.
Exactly. I totally
Yeah,
get that. I totally feel that. So feel that. And I know lots of other people are going to as well.
yeah,
And carry on, please. Yeah.
yeah. So that was the first powerful imprint, the one of abandonment and rejection. The second powerful uh, embryological trauma was the actual day when mom went to the clinic. As I said in the first interview, it was illegal in Romania to get an abortion. So she went to a doctor who would do it in his basement using tools that are not even tools for that. Just improvised. I don't even have words for it. My mother can barely speak about it. The pain of the experience is beyond imagination. And yet she was going for a third one because the despair and the hunger was such. In Romania in 87, and the moment when she is about to cross the street to have the abortion, that's when the security, the police of Romania who were under the communist regime came in to arrest the doctor. And in that moment, my mother just completely dissociates and she freezes on the ground and She just wishes to disappear because she knows they are going to take her and she's going to disappear and die probably. So she's just frozen there and she spends the whole afternoon not being able to move because she feels that they might take her. For some unknown reason, nobody sees her. But her system and me within her, I'm flooded with cortisol and adrenaline to a level that it can't even be described because she's completely dissociated and frozen. She feels she's going to die. She wishes she's going to vanish as her whole system just goes into overdrive. And it's such a powerful moment for me that my biological heart stops developing. It kind of shatters. From that moment onwards in that pregnancy, my heart never fully developed. That was such a powerful, energetic, emotional, chemical moment for me. My biological heart shattered.
Well,
And
and think about it, right? If you think about, this is what's coming to me right now, is it makes sense to me that your mother was kind of wishing she was dead, right? And so you're
yeah,
taking on all this, and as that little baby, that little embryo, we can't necessarily logically decipher what we're hearing or feeling,
no,
right?
no,
But we can feel it. We can feel it.
yes,
And then it later gets perceived as, right? As the, like the
yeah,
things we're talking about, like self-hatred and, wanting to
yeah,
die and all these things. So to me, it
yeah,
just makes so much sense that your heart would choose to shatter because it's like it's
yeah,
listening to what it's being told,
yes.
right?
And it's just too much for it. It's
Yeah.
literally too much and it shatters.
Mhm.
And here is the crazy story. Now I am grateful for that day because of that powerful trauma, I'm here telling you the story. Otherwise, the abortion would go through. So funny enough, I am gifted with a broken heart. I am alive because of that powerful traumatic day. And it took me a few years to heal and integrate that, not just intellectually, on a somatic, energetic level in my body. And from that day onwards, my mother spent weeks in the house, crippled with anxiety that they will find her and take her. So I spent another few weeks feeling invisible, frozen like my mother was. I inherited her nervous system because she was frozen in the house. Constant anxiety and depression, waves after waves in the amniotic fluid of her womb. I'm surprised I made it alive. Doesn't
There
make
was
sense.
definitely a reason that you needed to.
Yeah, I'm aware why I absorbed all of that so I can transmute and heal them now and use that as a superpower to hold space for other people so I can resonate on such a deep, embryological, painful place. And that was not all. My father has his own suppressed shadow, his own suppressed pain, and he's an abusive alcoholic father. When I'm in the womb, my sister is 4 or 5. And when I ask her about her life at 5, she says, really proud, I was telling mom every day to run away, to divorce him and run away because he's such an awful father. So they were getting abused. I was getting verbally abused when I was still in the womb. My nervous system registered his energy, his field, his abuse. For the rest of my life, even when my father is friendly or loving, my nervous system feels danger. He hugs me, and my entire childhood I never knew why, but I feel danger. He's loving to me in the present moment, but also in the present moment in 87, he's abusing mom when I'm in the womb. And I receive all that energy, all that self-hate and suppressed shadow hits me, imprints on my nervous system. So when I hear his voice, I feel his energy, I feel his presence. My nervous system shuts down, dissociates, freezes. Danger, this is life and death, freeze, and danger. This is how my nervous system was programmed to be in the presence of my father, no matter his present emotional state.
Well, I just want to say thank you for telling us all of that because I know so many people are going to resonate with what you just said.
Yeah.
It's going to help them to make so much more sense about
Yeah.
why they felt the way they did in the presence of certain individuals. And you
Yes.
seriously just described my experience with my father in particular, because
Yeah.
he never abused me, um, or my sister closest to me, but the two older ones, I witnessed him abusing them as a little girl, and it and
Yeah.
traumatized me,
Yes.
totally
Deeply.
traumatized me. So it didn't matter that he didn't beat me the way that I had witnessed him doing it with my two oldest, but it still traumatized me in a way that that I always had a certain level of fear of him, right? And I needed to
Yeah.
keep my distance because there's danger there. And if you cross
Yes.
him, then you're going to pay the price, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. And I would love to add something to your story because I know it's going to help your listeners a lot. So quantum mechanics already says this to us, but I want you to know I know this because I've source has revealed it for me. What Eva is saying there, and again, quantum mechanics will say this, everything in front of our eyes, we actually see it inside of us. There are no colors in front of our eyes. The images and the colors are created within us, in our nervous system, in our heart space. Same thing with sound. My mouth doesn't have any voice or sound. It's energy. It's an eardrum, goes inside the nervous system, inside the heart, and inside you hear my voice. So when Eva was seeing her father, like I seen mine, abusing her siblings, like I've seen mine abusing, I saw my father, I heard my father 5 meters away, 10 meters away. But the reality is, I saw him inside of me. I heard him abusing my siblings inside of me. So, visual and hearing abuse, it also happens inside of the nervous system. And the nervous system registers that. And now it feels danger in relationship to that person, to that energy. So, it's enough to see your neighbors fight, but you see them inside your heart.
Thank
So,
you so much
trauma
for,
works like
yes,
that.
yes, it does. And thank you for saying that, because the way that it can also work, and this is where we need to go, like this is where people need to get this, and this is what we were talking about earlier today in our other podcast, is that people need to realize that you are being traumatized even by the television. You're even
Yes.
being like that little embryo, or that even a little child, or anybody really, but we're being traumatized by everything in our environment. And so when you
Yes.
said earlier that as soon as a mom gets pregnant, she should be a queen, and she should be honored, and she should be
Yes.
kept safe, and given the most awesome, like the most amazing environment for that little baby to grow in. That is why, right?
Yes.
Because then you're
Yes.
setting them up for a healthy development, right?
Yes.
Without all the trauma, without all the toxins of the chemicals that are the stress chemicals and things like that being in their system, that's
Yes.
impacting their development. And I know that
Yes.
this can be a hard pill for some moms to swallow, even dads, right? Of course. But I mean,
Yeah.
moms in particular, I know, take this in and just go, I did that to my child. Like, oh, maybe I caused that, or maybe I caused them to And I mean, it's okay to acknowledge that you may have
Yes.
actually played a part in that, right? And at the same
Yeah.
time, don't get caught up in feeling guilty about that, because then that's just
Yes.
perpetuating the whole cycle, isn't it?
Yes. Yes. Brilliant point. This is not about guilt. It's nobody's guilt here. It's just bringing to the light
Yeah,
what's unfolding in the year of your conception, honoring your mother for feeling anxiety, for being verbally or physically abused, and honoring you, the inner embryo, for feeling exactly what she felt, for absorbing those things. It's not the mother's fault. It's nobody's fault here. We're just talking about self-awareness, about embryological awareness, so we can enhance our self-love field in all of this.
exactly. And I know when I was in that little when I say little, but she was little, really. That's a 13-year-old. When I was in that 13 year
Yes.
old's womb, who was terrified and hating herself and saying all these terrible things. And, of course, suicide was contemplated and all these things, right? And all the fights that ensued around her, I took in as well. And,
All of it.
right, all of it. We take it all
All of
in,
it.
all of it. So please,
Yes.
any of you women out there who are contemplating getting pregnant or you are pregnant, take this as your sign, right? That this is what you needed to hear so that you can start to create that beautiful, safe, healthy
Yeah.
environment for your little baby to
Yeah.
exist in and develop in, right?
Yeah. And if you're pregnant right now, if any family member doesn't feel like even energetically like support for you, just please cut them off for the pregnancy. They're just going to spike your cortisol, your adrenaline, and I'm talking here just about biology. Energetically, they're going to influence your field and your embryo's development to degrees that we're just about to find out. So exit the city, move outside of the city, go away from crowded places. That embryo hears and feels everything you hear and feel.
Yeah. Because see,
Yeah,
exactly. And so again, thank you for saying that. Thank you so much for saying that. Um, that's such a valuable lesson. So on that note, I know this is your specialty. So could you talk a little more about how you came to learn all of this and how you've kind of brought this into your work, your current work?
yeah.
Okay.
Um, I was blessed during those 2 years of biodynamic craniosacral therapy, blessed with visions, blessed with revelations. I would, for weeks and weeks and weeks, I would have dreams of the whole embryological process. Even when I was not in class, I would sit under a tree and I would receive downloads from source, seeing how every emotional imprint affects the developing embryo. And I was blessed with healing my own inner embryo the same year. I was blessed with the conception of my first baby boy that year. So I got to listen to my wife's womb, to my wife's belly, developing the embryo while I was receiving downloads from source in relationship to developing embryo, while I was hearing my own inner embryological patterns. And then naturally, as I started seeing clients, there were moments in sessions where I would ask questions that they didn't have any intellectual logic to it. Like source life would manifest for me this powerful facilitation process. And naturally, I would just go deeper into the womb. I will connect the person to their body. And actually, Eva, can we do a gentle exercise? Not
Well,
too deep, just like a
absolutely.
gentle, if you just close your eyes and just
Absolutely.
put a put a hand on your heart, a hand on your tummy, and everybody who's listening can do this. Just one hand on the heart, one hand on the tummy, and we're just looking to connect to the body. So when we're going to ask some questions, we're not going to listen to the conditioned brain. We want to listen to what the body replies. Am I going to feel contraction or expansion, heat or cold? So this is something really gentle I do with clients, and I first ask them to ask their body, hey body, am I at peace with the parents I've chosen? Yes or no? Usually from the heart space, maybe an answer can come to the surface, or you can feel your stomach relaxing or not, or is there heat in your heart, or is your jaw clenching? Am I still in resistance to life? Am I still in resistance to the parents I've chosen, to the year and country I've chosen to be born with? That's the first question I explore. Am I at peace for choosing those parents, that country? Yes or no? We just listen to the body. And then we bring another powerful question into the mix. Hey, body, when my mother realized I was in her womb, did she wanted me? Yes or no? And then another powerful question. Hey, body, when my father realized of my presence here now, did he wanted me? Yes or no? And just listen to the heat or to the constriction. Just feel the expansion, or is the jaw clenching? Is the abdomen softening? Hey body, was my health programmed in the womb? Yes or no? And also with compassion and empathy, explore how do you feel in relationship to the answers coming to the surface. Is that bringing up to the surface any suppressed emotions? Hey body, was my nervous system conditioned in the womb? Yes or no? Hey body, was my consciousness programmed and conditioned in the womb? Yes or no? Hey body, did I absorb an ocean of suppressed anxiety and depression from my mother's side? Yes or no? Hey body, did I absorb an ocean of suppressed anxiety and depression from my father's line? Yes or no? Hey body, I am ready today to release these energy patterns. Yes or no? And just tune in to the body. Listen to the brain in the heart. Listen to the brain in the tummy. Feel, is there any heat? Where is the heat starting? Where is the heat going? And if this was one of my sessions, I would invite you to go horizontally so we can start the energy healing session. Deepen the quantum entanglement and offer space to integrate whatever came to the surface. So just give yourself some space at home right now. Allow yourself to feel what you're feeling. Offer yourself space, compassion, empathy, and honor every body sensation, every emotion coming to the surface. You've been carrying this an entire lifetime. It's okay to feel them, to allow them to be, to honor them. It's nobody's fault here. There is no such thing as fault in the present moment. There's nothing to be ashamed of here. There's no shame in the present moment. If you still have parents that are alive, I would invite you to, this week maybe, open a dialogue with them from a place of self-love and compassion. You might experience even more healing and integration, hearing a bit their story about your embryological life. And if your parents are not in this physical dimension anymore, you can write them a physical letter telling them what are you feeling, telling them that you realize what they felt at that moment in space and time. Feel free to burn the letter or throw it in a lake or ocean. I just invite you to, even if we don't have from here onwards an energy healing session, I would invite you to find a couch or a bed and just give yourself space, compassion, and empathy. Allow your nervous system to settle. Maybe even take a nap if you're in that place right now. And if this has resonated with you, my name is Laurian Talianu. You will find more details here in Eva's podcast, websites, and email. And I'm open to see you. Thank you for being here today. Eva, how are you right now?
Well, I can honestly say that it certainly brought up for me, and I knew this, but that to get the message in that space, okay, that
Yeah,
there's still some healing there to do, with my biological parents. um,
yeah,
the parents that raised me, they're on the other side, so
yeah,
I get to communicate with them anytime I want, and I really don't hold any sort of bad feelings towards them. um but yes, given my situation, with my biological parents. There's no question, my biological family, period. But there's no
Yeah.
question that there's still unresolved stuff there, um, in my nervous system. And it's interesting because I started having seizures 11 years ago, grand mal seizures. And it's been, suggested several times to me by different people. Have you ever thought that maybe there's, some sort of trauma or an emotional connection to why you're having those seizures? And I said, well, of course I have. Like, this is the work I do, right? But Laurian, you know that oftentimes we are, as people in the healing profession, we are actually oftentimes better at helping other people to
Yes.
get to the root cause, to actually discern what's going on and help them to heal it, than it is sometimes for ourselves. And I don't want to say that as like it's a limiting belief in me. It's just that that's just been my experience of it, and I'm
Yeah.
sure you can relate to that, right?
Yeah.
um
Deeply and intimately.
of course. And what do? Our higher self will find those clients who come to us, that we work
Yeah.
with, that are working on the same things that we too need to work on. And
Yeah.
so when you're doing this work with people, when you're doing this healing work with people, at least in my experience, it's always shown me, right? It always shows
Yes.
me, but we don't always accept it. We will resist too sometimes, right? But thank you so much for that, because it just really clarified for me at a visceral level, right? What I need to still do to finally make that peace and get that resolve, with my biological parents, my biological family. So thank you so much for that. And I am making a commitment right here, right now, that I am going to do it, because it's done nothing less than harm me by holding it, right? Because this is what we do. We carry, like you said earlier in the interview, all of that trauma, all of those experiences that come into us, we end up carrying, and they aren't even our own.
None of it is.
That's right. And so we take
None of
on
it.
all of their pain, of our actual parents, and then we take on their parents' pain as well. And then their parents' pain, because it all comes down, it's all quantum, isn't it? Like, we're not just
Yeah.
talking physical experience with these individuals.
Yeah.
This is an energetic,
Yeah.
quantum field thing we got going on here. So what I have found is that there's so many great tools out there for different types of healing and things like that, but unless you get to the root cause and do the work at that deep level, quantum, I'll say quantum level, right? I know it has lots of different
Yeah.
words: higher level, quantum level, soul level, whatever you want to call it, right? But I mean, unless you do the work at that level, sometimes you can feel like you're just cycling this therapy and healing thing. You're just like, oh, but I worked on that, oh, here it is again, oh, but I worked on that, oh, and here it is again, oh, but I worked on, here it is again, because we're not actually getting to the root cause and
Yeah.
doing things at that deeper quantum level. So that's, I think it's phenomenal that you are doing this work with people at that quantum level, that is helping them to heal that embryological, experience, because that's really what you're doing with people, right? That's the
Yeah.
focus.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. That's the intention. And
Right.
even sometimes people come to me and don't realize it straight away. Embryological patterns come to the surface.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say 80% of the work I do just organically ends up offering healing and integration for embryological patterns.
Right. And how many times as a cranial sacral therapist have people come to you, physically come to you, I mean, for therapy thinking, "Oh, but I just have a bad back. I just needed my bad back worked on," or, I just have a chronic neck condition. Like, what do you mean? Like what happened in my mother's womb? They're like have no intentions of
Yes.
doing anything emotional, and next thing you know, it's coming out. And I get it because it's happened to me hundreds of
Yeah.
times with clients over
Yes.
the years. you know,
Yes.
they're just like,
Yes.
excuse me, I just came here because I wrenched my back.
I know exactly what you mean. And even before being a craniosacral therapist, every form of therapy I've practiced in this life,
Uh-huh.
probably for a decade, I was in that position. Um, Luckily, nowadays, my voice, my authentic voice, has reached millions of people. And nowadays, my calendar is full of people who know exactly why they are coming to see me. But for over a decade, I was in those shoes, and I remember that viscerally. And I had to read the client to kind of gently guide him like a river. Like, what do you feel is behind that? Why would your body manifest that? And kind of just gently guide them. But luckily, the energetic work, the quantum work is so powerful. Around session number three, I would say 900 out of 1,000 clients have a bit of a breakthrough. No idea why, but around session three, something opens within them and they discover things about them they never. Their consciousness awakens, but also energy integrates, but also energy gets to be released. Something magical happens. And then again, around session number six, another powerful breakthrough. And then again, around session number nine, another powerful breakthrough happens. And but those three sessions, a decade ago, I did my best to just allow them to be on the bed. Like not that now goes not go straight into tell me about the life in your womb, or have you done any inner child work? Have you explored your suppressed shadows? I kept it physical because that's where they were in the moment. Like, what's your pain level? Where in the body is it? And then in the first three sessions, I would shift the attention and the awareness into a more holistic heart space, energy space, just to see what lands with them.
Well, you're also building trust too, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes. Um, it feels like I've danced well that with my clients. That's how it feels within me. I would love to hear their feedback at some point, but within me feels like I've danced well. Um, that energy field dance with them. With and as you say, it was always funny because everybody comes with a shoulder ache, with a hip ache, with a knee ache. And I was also like them. 15 years ago, I had a knee ache, and I actually believed it was a knee ache.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been in their shoes. I know exactly how it feels to be on both sides of the table of the inner energy healing session. And yeah, it's a dance. It's a dance, and I'm just grateful it happens.
So I'm just curious then, and I'm sure I already know the answer, but I'm still going to ask it. If you if you had had if you had had an intervention earlier on in your life, okay, let's just say maybe even as an older child or as a teenager or something like that. If you had had some kind of intervention then that would have created the healing, the wholeness that you're feeling more now, do you think that it would have changed the trajectory of your life tremendously? Like I'm just curious. Do you think it would
Oh
have?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm listening to your question 100%. I literally saw it right now.
Mm.
Um, I've abandoned myself and let's say self-sabotage myself in my 20s to 30s to a degree of survival because that's what it was. It was survival. I've sabotaged and abandoned myself in self-love, in abundance, in physical health, in so many fields.
In
I
relationships,
oh, massively.
opportunities.
All of it. If
Yeah.
if I would have received healing when I was 15 or 20, I would have been a billionaire by the age of 26. And I would have been a movie star. We'd have the podcast and I would say I can only stay 1 hour because I have lunch with Brad Pitt and I don't want to be late. So yes, to answer your question, 100% yes.
Well, then I
100%
kind of
yes.
think that would have been a shame then. That would have been a shame that that happened because then you wouldn't be here right now and
Yeah,
sharing your
just a
message with the
different,
world.
exactly. I would have not been a therapist. I would have just been someone who's healed and integrated, and I can authentically express my source
Yes.
presence in the present moment. It would have been just a different experience. I would have loved them both. But to answer your question with authenticity, 100% yes, 100% yes, yeah.
I
Because I
can
can
totally relate.
see, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I see it in myself today what energy work, what therapy, what does to me and my field, the way I express myself, the way I write a book, the way express myself in front of the camera, the way I literally don't identify anymore with any imaginary fear. Like everything that happens in my life this year, I go for it and I create, I express with intention, with self-love, like I've never done it before. If I would have had this level of healing in my 20s, as I said, I would have been a billionaire by 26 with this self-awareness and creativity. And when I say billionaire, I'm not just talking about the financial, I'm talking about the way I express myself. 10 published books, one movie, I would have even directed a movie, I would have starred in a movie, I would have done a lot of things with a lot of courage and self-love behind me.
My goodness, you and I have so much in common. Oh my God. So I just need to share with you while you were doing that exercise. My mother was here. She's here. Okay. She's on the other side. But she was saying she was taking credit for having brought us together. She does
Oh,
that sometimes. She's like, it was
thank her. Yeah,
all.
I feel her. I believe her. I fully trust what's in the field here.
Yeah.
All these guides, all these angels, source all around us, always guiding us. 100% yes to
Yeah.
her. So, what's her name?
Her name was Pat. Her name is Pat.
Pat.
Yeah.
Pat.
Yeah.
Pat,
Pat.
thank you for being here now with us. Thank you for constantly guiding, supporting, and facilitating the present moment for us.
Well, it's very important for her even now being on the other side. It's very important to her that um she feels she needs to guide me in the rest of the healing that she knows I still need to do. I've come, oh my gosh, I've come so far. But when she was on her deathbed, I was taking care of her when she was sick with dying from cancer at the end and paralyzed. It's all very, the metaphors is just amazing with this woman's story. Um, but when she was on her deathbed dying and I was there taking care of her with just a few days before she died, she said to me, she said, I want you to promise me something. And I said, okay. She said, don't, when after I die, don't ever come back here. And this is in our family home, right? This is in my childhood home. She said, don't ever come back here. And I said, Mom, what do you mean? Like, what? She said, I'm serious. She said, I want you to promise me that when I die, after I die, you will never come back here again. She said, you will beat your head against a wall, trying, wishing, and hoping and praying that they will change, and they will not. And she knew from her own experience and my
Yeah.
experience to that point. She said, I want you to just go and live your life.
Yes.
And that was her way of giving me permission, right, to stop this cycle of trying to keep the peace and then trying to be in relationship with people that are, some people, I'm not saying my whole family, but being in relationship with certain members of my family that were extremely toxic and abusive. And just there was just nothing that I was going to be able to do that was going to change
Yeah.
that, because it takes two, right? You know this, in a relationship
Yeah.
you have to have both people who are willing to do that work in order to be able to facilitate a healthy relationship. And when you're the only one, and the individual on the other side of that relationship has zero desire or willingness to do any kind of that healing work and make any kind of change, then what are you doing, right?
Yeah.
And it's like you said, if a pregnant woman has toxic people in her life right now, or people who are not supportive of what of her or her life, or being pregnant or whatever it might be, then is it not a good investment in yourself, in your health, and in the health and well-being of that baby that you are growing inside of you? Is it not a worthwhile investment to take charge and set those boundaries, and if need be, cut certain people out of your life that are causing you, really, they cause harm. They're
Yes.
causing harm to that, potentially to that little baby, which is setting them up for a future that is just going to continue the pattern, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I think it's a
And
worthwhile
thank you for
investment.
saying that. Yes, it is. And thank you saying that about healthy boundaries is just key. Those healthy boundaries of self-love will change everything forever. And once those healthy boundaries are in place, half of the people in your life will naturally just go away because you're not accepting what they are projecting onto you. You're not accepting their conditioning, their programming. You're not accepting their suppressed depression. You're not accepting their suppressed anxiety. The moment when you're not allowing them to project onto you the image they have in your head about who you are, who should be, and you have healthy boundaries, the universe just removes them in the most natural way from your life.
It is so unbelievably true.
Yeah,
And, I know we talked about this before, but there's that quote, a reason, a season, or a lifetime, right? People are in your life for a reason, a season,
yeah,
or a lifetime.
lifetime.
And
Yeah,
I totally feel that, because I have seen a lot of people just, and there's not it they don't always have to leave in anger either, do they? It's just, you
just
just
keep
naturally
going.
just go in different directions, right? You're just naturally flowing in different,
Different.
going down different creek beds, you're just like going
Yeah,
in different, yeah. And it's okay
it's
to
more
let
than
them
okay.
go. Yeah.
It's freeing because just talking from personal experience, subjective life experience, the moment I started loving myself deeply and started having powerful self-love boundaries, I would say 80% of my circle of friends changed. I would say half of my family, my blood family, is not in my field anymore. But I've created space for new people, for new brothers, new sisters, for my tribe to come in. As long as I was tolerating them and abandoning myself, but by not speaking my truth, my authenticity, there was no space in my heart, in my field, for the people who are meant to be with me. And the moment I started loving myself deeply, but I mean deeply here, no more self abandonment in the present moment, speaking my truth, my authenticity with courage, half of my family just disappear from my field, and I received new brothers and new sisters. And it was so freeing. I didn't even realize the density of having them in my life, where I'm not meant to be in their life, they're not meant to be in my life. We're both just not healthy being family and friends to that level. They are free. I am free. I'm receiving new people in my life. They are receiving new people in their life who they resonate with. I receive people who I resonate with. Everybody's free now to express themselves.
It's beautiful. It's so beautiful. It truly, truly is. And I know exactly what you're talking about that freeing feeling. I mean, think about it though. When we are carrying for decades all of that heaviness of the trauma, right? When we're carrying it, and like we just said, the generations of that trauma, other people's trauma. I mean, when that all of a sudden gets lifted off of you, it literally feels like you've lost 1,000 pounds. Like you just, it's
Yes.
like, whoa, I walk lighter too. And oh wow, like it's just, it's hard to explain. And I know that different people in my life who, that we've diverged, right? We've gone in diverging paths, but I know some people have resented it. And I just send them with
That's
love, honestly, and I just say that's okay.
yeah.
That's
Yeah,
okay.
that's okay.
That's okay.
I'm okay with it. Yeah.
I'm
I'm here.
because yeah, because when you're okay with yourself, when you love yourself,
Yeah.
then you don't need to have that external
No,
love coming
no,
in from those
no,
people, right?
no.
And I
I'm not
remember,
here to be liked by everybody. I'm here
no,
to me to like me, for me to like myself, to love myself. I'm
right?
okay if 4 billion people don't like me and other 4 billion people like me. I'm here to like me. And this is for everybody who is listening. You're not here to be liked by anyone. You're only here for you to like you, for you to like yourself, for you to love yourself with authenticity. Whatever else happens, it doesn't matter.
Thank you so much for saying that, because oh my gosh, because I know all of us who have experienced these traumas in the womb particularly, but when we've
Yes.
experienced these traumas, that we do seek it, don't we? We seek it
Yes.
oftentimes. We're seeking that love and connection that we did not feel from the very time we were that tiny, tiny, tiny little embryo inside our mother's womb. And we spend so many years and so much time and so much energy seeking it outside of ourselves, which it actually comes down to is when we can finally, like you said, you found that self-love, you connected with that self-love. It's not that it was never there, it's just that you needed to connect with it, right? And it's kind
It's
of that,
always there.
it's always there. It's just like you said about other people coming into your life. Once you finally allowed the family members and other friends and people that had been there before kind of taking up space energetically, when they were set free, then it freed up that space so that you could allow more into your life, more other people
Yeah.
into your life. And I look at that too, is like when you finally release, this is how I used to explain it to my clients as well, is when you finally can free up that energy and you can release that blocked energy out of your system, then it allows energy, it frees up space for other energy to come into you that would be more helpful to you, right? More healing to you,
Yes.
that could, you might be shocked, like once you let all this go, that that man or woman that you have been trying to find your whole life to be your partner might just show up, or maybe they were there the whole time, but they
They
didn't
were
have
there
you
the
you
whole
yeah,
time.
but you didn't
Yes.
have the space inside
The
your
space.
your energy field to even see them or accept them into your life in that way, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. 100%. Yes. Thank you for saying that. It just resonated so deeply on so many levels. And okay, really quick, two easy examples of creating selfie boundaries and friends and family, how they will feel about that.
Yeah.
So I have an older brother, 40 years bigger than me. So his entire life, he's been the older brother. So he's been used to talk to me in a certain way. The moment I woke up and I remember who and what I am here and now, I didn't allow him to project anything onto me anymore. And one day on the phone, he started screaming at me like I'm his little 4-year-old brother. And I said, that's unacceptable. I don't allow you to talk to me like that. If you do it one more time, I'm just going to close the phone. You call me when you're able to have a discussion. Stop projecting your conditioning, your suppressed shadows onto me. I'm here, I'm now and present. I don't allow you to talk to me like that. And that was it. Since then, he doesn't talk to me anymore. It was just for me enough to say, I don't allow you to talk to me that. And that's it. He's out of my life because there's this healthy boundary where I don't allow him to talk to me like I'm his younger sibling that he can scream at and kind of like bully. And that was it.
And that's what it is, isn't it? It is bullying
Yeah.
and it's abuse. Like, let's
Yes.
just
At the
call it what
moment,
it is.
yeah,
It was
it is abuse.
abuse.
Yes, the moment you don't allow people in your life to abuse you anymore, they will go away. This is available for narcissists, for
Mhm.
parents, for everybody. Because at the end of the day, on a conscious level, we gave our permission. We agreed. Nothing happens in my life. I'm aware of that without my permission. I've signed the, we can call it a soul contract. I've accepted him to be my bigger brother to a certain point to bully me because I accepted that I was too little. I didn't have authenticity and word to create selfie boundaries. But now I've awakened. I know who and what I am here and now, and I don't accept people in my life who project their conditioning onto me. And that's okay. I said, stop. I don't like what you're saying, go away. Or I don't like what you're saying, I will
I'm
go
going to
away.
go away. Yeah.
And I'm okay with that. I know who
Absolutely.
and what I am here and now. I'm okay creating my reality. If you're still stuck in your conditioning and programming with all the self love, I love you and goodbye.
But I
And
don't
that's
need
it.
you to be in my life
Mm,
to be whole. And I think this is a common misconception. I don't recall if we talked about this in the last interview, but let's touch on it. That people believe that because they're born into a family, that there's some kind of entitlement on one hand, there's some kind of entitlement, but also an obligation that there's an obligation that we have to be in relationship, even if that relationship is the most terrible, abusive, unhealthy, toxic relationship. You still feel, but they're my family, right? But that's my mom. Okay, so she may have provided the space for you to grow in her belly and gave birth to you, but that does not mean that she's allowed to put you down and demean you and make you feel small and give you, and swear at you or beat you or whatever it might be. That does not give them permission to do that.
no, no, nobody's allowed,
No.
not at all, to verbally abuse you, like when you're a child, when you're adult. And now it's okay to put healthy boundaries
Yeah.
against parents, against siblings. And what you said about that, feeling obligated,
Mm.
that's a trauma response. That's intergenerational trauma. The relationships are not, if you're my brother, if you're my family, there's a healthy boundary of self-love. If that can't be there, it's okay. We go on our separate ways. Life is beautiful and full of people everywhere. And
Yes, is it ever?
yeah,
And
that's
that
just an unhealthy attachment. An
it
unhealthy
is.
attachment style. It's a trauma response.
Yeah.
It's so many things. And
Yeah.
that's why it's not about them. It's about me. It's about you and the you who are listening,
Mhm.
creating healthy boundaries from a place of self-love. And people will naturally exit your reality. You don't have to like verbally fight them or tell them to go away. As soon as you are here and now, this source of presence in the present moment, in relationship to the present moment, from a place of self love and boundaries, that's it. people start like they were never there. They just float in a different dimension. Great for them, great for me. More space for new people. I can meet the cool person from Canada who organizes this cool podcast. Yeah.
It's so
How amazing is
true.
that? How amazing is
Oh,
that?
it's just amazing. I'm just the life is so limitless and just so filled with so much to be thankful for. And it's just, we were talking about this earlier today, and there's far too many things that we could focus on that could make us feel hopeless and helpless, and um make us feel like the world is a very terrible place, and what's the point? Right? Because let's face it, that's what media likes to project into the world, right, into the field. And I really do believe that we're so much more than that. And I think that when we can get to that place like you're talking about, which is really about us doing this work so that we can raise our own vibration, that and if we do this, and if so many of us do this, that it creates this whole collective consciousness movement around the world, where the whole world can be lifted up and in that vibration.
Yeah.
And that could change, the world, that could make the world what its potential really is, what it really could be. And some might say that's, oh well, that's going to another timeline, or whatever, however you want to say it, right? But
Yeah.
let's just keep it down to earth a little bit, so that people can see that they can impact the field, so they can impact the way that this world is going to be, and the way their own world inside is how they do it.
Yes.
Right? I say inside,
Yes.
but we know the field goes beyond being inside. But it from our hearts, like if we can make that change, if we can raise ourselves to that vibration individually, then that becomes part of the collective field, right?
Yeah. Yeah. No. Thank you for saying that, Eva, because I daily, this is how I open my channel on TikTok. This is how I open to clients. Whatever my heart is suppressing, my whole reality is expressing. So it all starts
Great
here in
quote.
the heart. Whatever my heart is suppressing, my whole reality, not just my body, my whole reality is expressing. Because my heart field is not just 3-6 meters, is as big as I wanted it to be. So whatever the frequency of my heart is, in my subjective experience, I'm aligning myself with a certain frequency of planet Earth. So I have the power to shift the frequency in my heart, which allows me to align myself on a frequency of Earth, the one that resonates with my heart. So that's why I work with clients a lot for the heart space and for the inner embryo. Because if in my heart space is suppressed anxiety, my whole reality is going to express suppressed anxiety. Because everything in front of me is a projection, a mirror, all of it into one. If my heart has suppressed depression, my whole reality is going to experience depression or suppressed depression. So I heal what's in the heart, so I don't create my reality from subtle energetic patterns that I absorbed in the womb. Because let's face it, and especially for those who are listening, your reality right now, or you can say your life, if that resonates more with you, it's just a mirror of the suppressed anxiety and depression that you absorb from your parents. Most of us are not yet experiencing their authentic life and reality because, in a subtle way, their reality is expressing what their heart is suppressing.
That's right. Oh my God, it's so true. Oh, thank you so much for saying that. Because what was coming to me is that when people do finally really, really embody that message that you just shared, then they start again. That's their rebirth. that's when
Yes.
they reset. That's when they can truly become, step into who they authentically are, not who they were, and not who their parents were, and everything else that they were carrying all that time. It's seriously like a total like cleanse or something, you know?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, it
It's
is.
it's like a
It's a
real
complete
cleanse.
rebirth. Yeah,
Yes, it's a rebirth, right? Hence the
yeah.
reason that I called this book, this series, Rebirth,
Oh,
because I really do feel like that's what, well, I know that that's what you do when you work with clients, and I know that honestly that's what each of us needs to do, is we need to experience that rebirth, get to that place of rebirth, starting over. And it's okay to start again, isn't it? Like, it's okay to
yes.
start from zero, if you want to say that. It's okay, 0 point, we might say, right? To start from the 0 point. I mean, I know a lot of people fear that taking that kind of quantum leap, but it can be done subtly and slowly and over time. It doesn't have to be like boom, done. And sometimes it
Yeah,
can be too. It can happen
yeah,
like that as well, and we do lots of that too,
yeah.
right?
Exactly. I've seen it on all on both sides.
Yeah,
It works, and whatever works for the person in front of us, we
yeah.
hold space for that.
Absolutely.
But
So
it works.
it does. Of course it works. Of course.
It
So I do
works.
want to ask you though, based on the work that you do, um, you do a lot of hands-on work, but you also work with people in this way as well, don't you? Like
Yeah, yeah.
over video call?
Yes.
Okay.
More for the past 2 months, I've shifted my entire work online.
Mm-hmm.
I shifted my entire work mostly with groups. I do still have some VIP one-to-one packages where I work with people one-to-one, but most of my work right now is with groups and live energy healing events. And I'm just falling in love working with groups because once I organize a group, it instantly creates a community. And normally a client will like send me an email on, we had a session on Friday, they will send an email on Monday telling me how they feel. I will reply on Tuesday and Wednesday, and they don't have the support. Like that, I have an energy healing event on Saturday. On Sunday, they go on the WhatsApp group or the Facebook group, they write how they feel, what's coming to the surface. They have 100 people from the same energy healing event going for something similar, and they support each other. And then when we see each other again next Saturday, everybody, 100 people, had the support of 100 people.
They're cheering for them,
And
aren't they?
yes, and
Yeah.
I'm falling in love with that. I'm falling in love with that.
I think it matches your personality well as well, because you're like me, you're an extrovert, and extroverts tend to gain energy from more groups, right?
Yeah.
We like that energy. I mean, it doesn't mean we don't like to ever, be at peace alone in our quiet as well, but just sort of as that extroverted personality, we gain that energy. Whereas people who are more introverted, it doesn't have to be this way, but they tend to kind of lose energy in larger crowds. And I mean,
Yeah.
maybe that too is a bit of a belief that people could, but I do
Yeah.
think it just kind of shows up naturally in people, where they discover
Yeah.
that, oh, that's why being in a crowd is really hard for me, because it kind of takes my energy away, and then I have to kind of go and be alone and regroup, and whereas me personally, I get juiced up from it.
When I was under the fog of trauma, um, my introvert aspect was always at the forefront because my nervous system was dysregulated. It didn't matter if I was alone or with crowds, so I would always retreat somehow. The moment I healed my nervous system, I have a live TikTok event and 200, 300, 400, 600 people come in. I feel more energized. I express myself differently. So, as you said earlier, it's a belief, it's an energy pattern. Uh, my felt sense is that all human beings can find a place where they feel energized in front of a group, on stage, or in the crowd, because you become part of a larger field. You just connect to more universes, more energy. But again, that's an inner work
Absolutely.
journey
So
to
how
get
so that
there.
brings up another question for you then from me. And that is that when you were still in the cloud of your trauma, okay, you say that you had more of those introverted traits.
Yeah.
But I'm curious, were there people in your life who recognized the true you and that actually would push you to be more of that true you because they saw something in you that you weren't even valuing in yourself? I'm just curious.
Yeah, that's a great question. The answer was no. Uh, I was under the fog of trauma conditioning programming. My circle of friends was equally conditioning programmed, and we were all, our solution to our pain was addiction into food or alcohol or even drugs or everything, even subtle ways, in major ways. My extrovert will come to the surface rarely, only when I was in that group of friends who truly could saw and allow my authenticity to come to the surface. But otherwise, 90% of my life was in a group of people who I will put my extrovert as a defense mechanism. Um, and again, I think we were, me personally, to a certain degree, that was just my solution to my trauma. I didn't have any tools in my 20s to properly heal. So drinking and eating was my way of socializing, creating connection, but also masking the dysregulation of my nervous system, the heaviness in my heart. And yeah, and I could speak
Wow.
to this, I could speak all night long about how intense my 20s to 30s was, because that was my solution to trauma. Drinking and eating, that was my solution to a dysregulated nervous system, eating and drinking, excessive shopping, um, pornography, sex. My 20s was just masking self mechanism, dissociation, shutdown, dysregulation, but masking all of this, not realizing, not realizing my 3D conditioning, that I still felt like a character in space and time. I had zero awakening, zero remembering of who and what I am. I was still this linear character who lived yesterday, today, and tomorrow, not being aware of the oneness of the present moment and honoring both my duality and non-duality. So I've experienced a massive shift, how life was in my 20s, how life is in my 30s right now.
I totally feel that from you. Thank you so much for being vulnerable
Yeah.
because not a lot of people would be willing to admit what you just did. And I think too that the other piece is that we have a whole society now that's doesn't even realize the trauma that they have experienced and continue
No.
to experience because of our,
Yeah.
well, lots of reasons, right? Our
And
environment
perpetuate.
and now
That's
now this is the way that so many people escape, right?
yeah.
And it's just a tool, right? And we know that it's just a tool,
Yeah.
but at the same time, I mean, so many people have this, what you call this dysregulated nervous system,
Yeah.
and because they grew up all in the same environments that we did, I mean, maybe they didn't have the direct trauma experience in the womb the way that you and I have both talked about, and a lot of other people have, but there's still other forms of trauma that we take
Yes.
on from our environment. And then so many of us are acting this out in so many different ways that we don't see the connection, right? We don't see the connection that, Oh, so me being on this like 10 hours a day, just scrolling through social media and, getting in fights with people online or whatever, or playing video games or whatever it is. So you're telling me that's because I had some kind of trauma in my life? I don't remember having a trauma, right? Things like that. And I'm just like, I see it, right? I see it. We've lived
Yes,
it. I see
Dave.
it.
Yes.
My safe escape growing up, same as you, food, that was my safety. And music got me through, absolutely. But food was definitely my go-to. I was surrounded with people that would turn to drugs and alcohol, and I was never a chronic drinker at all. But if I did drink, if I was in a social situation, that's when a lot of my even more extroversion would come out, and I would be more um there. Sarcasm too, I think, is another way to hide our pain. We use sarcasm in the way
Yes.
we
Powerful
interact.
self-mechanism.
Yes, yeah, and I used to
Yeah.
use sarcasm a lot in that way as a it was now I recognize it was a protective mechanism, and being mouthy, like I was just trying to be funny all the time, and I'd be like just really sarcastic and mouthy, and like that's the way I remember being as a teenager, just.
Yeah.
And now I recognize totally what it was, but I'll be honest with you, I never really would have put it in the words of it being a nervous system dysregulation, right? Um, but I know, because of everything I've learned from you and everything I've researched and studied up to this point, it all makes sense to me, and it makes me want to it makes me want to go and just hug my kids, because I know that, especially the first, my daughter, because she I got pregnant with her out of wedlock, and well, not that that matters nowadays, but still, it was with my boyfriend at the time, and we didn't end up getting married. But I mean, I remember how stressed I was trying to figure out how I was going to tell my parents that I was pregnant. I was 20, but still, how I was going to tell them, and how just unbelievably stressed I was. And she is that kind of kid that holds a little bit of that stress, and she is more, she has struggled in her life with feeling a little bit of feelings of anxiety, and she very introverted, and I never understood her when she was little. I didn't understand. I'm like, she can't be my daughter, right? Because I was such an extrovert, right? But she was dealing with her own trauma
Yes.
and pain of what I had put her through and put on her
Yes.
in her way. And in her way, it was to retreat. Her
Yes.
way was to
Uh,
retreat, you know? And it just amazes me these, how we, all of these experiences play out in our lives, and we could have like a whole family of people that experience all the exact same things, but and there can be some similar patterns, but it can all also play out very differently for each one of us. And I have to ask you this. I know you agree with that because we've talked about it, but I have to ask you this. When you were growing up, any level of awareness at all that you may have had about, like, how abusive maybe your father was, or the bullying maybe you experienced from your siblings, or whatever it may have been, did you come away from that experience and everything you experienced in as an embryo, right, and in the womb, did you come away from that experience knowing that you were not going to be like them, or were you very much like them and then finally hit a place where you transformed it? I'm just curious.
yeah. Yeah. That's a great question, by the way. I was like them. My self-mechanism was being a bully.
No.
I didn't
Okay.
feel safe in my body. The only safety I felt when I was, and I became a bully way before I have memories. Like my first memories as a child are me bullying other children because that was my solution to feel some kind of safety or fake control in my environment. So I would say 5 to 13, bullying my was my self mechanism. My heart was full of pain, full with trauma. I had zero tools for what I was doing. The only moment when I felt safety when I was the bully. And of course, being the bully meant once a day I will meet a bigger bully than me and I will receive exactly what I was offering. But that was my self mechanism. I had zero skills to connect with myself or with children. I felt too much in danger being seen as a child, so it was easier to be the bully than to be 1% vulnerable or allow myself to be seen or heard. And then at 13, I've realized a more complex self mechanism in my dysregulation, which was fawning and people pleasing and some kind of subtle manipulation of the present moment, creating even deeper masks and suppressing even more energies and creating more suppressed shadows in my system because those were the tools I had. I didn't want it to be a bully anymore because I was hating myself for being a bully. So I created this persona where I was fake nice, super nice, because I hated my first part of my life being a bully. I never wanted again to be a bully, but I didn't have any other tools to be anything else. So I became so nice that I've suppressed even healthy anger, but everything just to be nice, not to be a bully again. And just that was my self mechanism response. So I was the most powerful people pleaser from 13 to probably 26. I used fawning and my nervous system would shut down and dissociate and being overly nice, suppressing my nervous system, my immune system was my self mechanism.
And at the same time harming yourself.
Massively.
Mhm.
The
Right.
most self destructive scenario I can imagine. And always abandoning myself in the present moment to the point where I started hating myself for feeling anger, even for expressing healthy boundaries. I rather people please and suppress my healthy boundaries, suppressing my immune system, just so I don't become again the bully. I just didn't have the other tools. I was either people pleasing or probably exploding like a bully. I didn't have any other tools to communicate because that's what I absorbed from my father. For me, that was natural. That was life. Nobody has ever taught me differently, and I was too under the fog of trauma to even explore another version of myself or even find my authentic self.
And I bet that you came away from all of that experience and then everything you've healed and learned since. I bet that you decided that you would never, ever put your own child through any of what you experienced growing up.
Oh, yeah. Yes. 100% yes.
Mm.
Uh, that's the funny thing about these stories. My father never taught me anything, but he taught me how not to be like him. So it's easy for me to know how to be a good father. Just don't do what he did. And now it just becomes easy to me to put it like that.
See,
Just,
that's the perfect reframe. It's the
yeah,
perfect reframe for a traumatic or abusive childhood because we can dwell on how bad things were, or we can look back on it now and say, hey, you know what? If I didn't have all that experience, I wouldn't be half the parent that I am right now to my child, or
100%.
I would not be a good husband to my wife as I am right now. Or, like that's the way I see it too. Honestly, I'm very
Yeah,
different from a lot of people in my family. I really am. I'm very, very different. And I'm not saying I'm better, I'm just different. right?
Yeah.
And my the way I chose to do things was to do the opposite. So,
Mhm.
and in doing that, it's like you talked about earlier, where when you raise your vibration or when you just become true to yourself and you start loving yourself, how a lot of people fall away. Well, it happened to me too, right? And people too, sometimes in your life will see you as a threat to them when you start to be your authentic self or when you decide to do things differently, not just for yourself but for your children. You maybe decide you don't want to vaccinate your children and nobody else in your family agrees with that and they think you're a horrible person for not doing that. And you decide you want your children to eat healthy food and you don't want them growing up drinking Coca-Cola when they're 2 years old. And like you just make different decisions, and it's not about making those decisions to make that other individual place blame on them for because maybe they did. It's just because you're making different decisions. But
Yeah.
it's interesting, isn't it, how some people really see that as threatening to them when you actually do things differently and maybe think for yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. It is like that. And
Yeah.
I know how it is for them. They are still conditioned, they are still programmed, they still believe all their 3D programming. And when someone like us does something completely different, when someone like us is completely present in the here and now and talks like we talk and tells them things like, there's no future, I'm just grateful for the present moment. And of course, I'm not going to vaccinate my kids. You're crazy. This is God in flesh and bone. It doesn't get any more healthy than it is when it's coming from the womb. I'm not going to vaccinate for some imaginary fear 3D programming. And of course, they feel attacked by it. And that's okay. I've learned to be okay expressing my authentic truth. And it's freeing. It's freeing, Eva, because a lot of people have exited my field just by me posting on Facebook my authentic truth, by me posting on TikTok.
Yep.
And it's freeing. Like I'm okay being me in the present moment. I'm okay accepting I am the present moment. I'm okay accepting who and what I am here and now. And that's it. It
Yep.
ends here. I follow my instincts in the present moment. There's a relationship between my energy and the energy of the present moment. All my decisions happen in the present moment, in relationship to the present moment with my instinct. I listen to my gut, to my heart.
And that's the
I'm
other thing I
grateful
was
that,
going to ask you. Your intuition has ramped up tremendously too, hasn't it?
yes,
Mm-hmm.
it's all about my intuition. I'm not using this conditioned organ anymore. It's all about intuition, about the energy of the present moment in relationship to the present moment. I'm expressing myself through intuition. I take decisions based on my intuition. There's nothing else. My intuition is my inner voice of God. My intuition is source. I trust it 100%. My whole being vibrates in intuition. And people in my life look at that and they can't even comprehend or contain what even that is. And I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
I've
So,
learned to be fully okay with that.
and that's another whole layer of freedom is acceptance,
Yeah,
right? Like
yeah,
just
yeah,
acceptance. And really, and I'm going to say it, when you get to that point, I said this to my friend the other day. She's like, you know, I have, I see people that say rude things to me on Instagram or Facebook or whatever, and I don't even feel like I have to respond to that anymore. I don't feel like I have to defend myself. She said, but other people,
yeah,
like friends, are defending me for me, which is okay, but I don't even need that. I said, isn't it nice when you finally get to a stage in your growth and in yourself that you don't give a fuck what anybody thinks anymore?
yeah, yeah. I love myself. I'm
Yeah.
enough here and now. I am. That's it. I am here and now. And I've taken it further. I love myself. That's it. I'm untouchable. Okay, I am
Unfuckwithable.
yes,
I had to
yes.
say it.
Unfuckable. Yes, I am. I am. I'm grateful that I've awakened and I remembered my true essence, my I am essence here and now. And I'm allowing myself to create and express that in the present moment. And as you said, you become untouchable,
Yeah.
which I'm truly grateful for because I
So
remember
go ahead. I was just going to
those,
ask you that question. Go ahead.
I remember how life was when I was a 3D character in my 20s and how life is right now in the present moment. So I'm truly grateful for what I'm living and experiencing right now.
And what is so beautiful about that is that I bet if you look back then, like I bet if you think about when you were, say, I don't know, 22 or 23 years old, did you ever think it would be possible for you to be in the place in the state that you are now and in the place in your life where you are now back then at that time?
Absolutely not.
Mm.
Absolutely not. Not even scratching the surface. My life was just filled with suicidal emotions and thoughts and movies once a month because my depression was just suppressed. Um, I imagined that life is going to be like that forever. I'm just going to somehow survive in pain. I've never even imagined that the healing was possible. I just thought I'm going to have a life where I manage pain and suffering and depression and anxiety. And yeah, so yeah, to answer your question, not even close, not even to 5% to who I am, what I am right now.
Well, I do hope that people that are hearing this right now, that if nothing else up to this point has given them hope, I hope that that does. If they are feeling like they are in a low place in their life, it's a season. It's a season
Yeah,
and it doesn't
a
have to stay
hundred
that way.
percent.
It is
Yeah.
possible to turn it around. It is.
Yes, healing and integration is possible here now.
Yeah.
And what worked for me the best was I for 10 years I was looking to self-heal myself, but then I realized true healing happens in connection. That was my trauma talking. I'll do it all by myself. I'll go by myself
Tough.
to
I'm
shamans.
tough.
I
I'm tough.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's just a trauma response. I know that healing happens in connection, in circles, in groups like this, in one-to-one with a powerful therapist like you, when I allow myself to be and receive and integrate. So, for whoever who's listening, it's an act of courage to reach out to a therapist, to a group, to a mentor, to any person in your life, or to a professional. That's the most courageous thing you can do and the most powerful self-love action someone can take in their life.
I absolutely agree. There's
Yeah.
no weakness, no shame, there's none of that when you make a decision like that. And I agree with you. I believe that we need to get back to the community. We need to get back to maybe even living in smaller groups, right? Smaller towns, smaller villages. I heard once from Chase Hughes, who I believe he's a psychologist. I think he is, but either way, yes, he's a professor of that. But he said this. He said that it's actually been studied and it's been proven that humans are meant to live in communities. We are meant to live in
Yes.
smaller, close-knit communities. And it actually is a form of dysregulation of our nervous system to be in these larger city centers. And like you said, with be in the congested cities and have all these buildings and traffic and everything around. It's just not natural for
No.
our system in any way, but it definitely isn't contributing in a healthy way to our nervous system. Absolutely. And that's why people feel so good when they go out into nature, right?
100% yes. This is so easy. Your body tells you straight away. Your nervous system calms down. Your cells start to regenerate, to self-heal. I think I could talk about this a whole
Mm,
week and barely scratch the surface. Once your in the here and now and in your safe body. When you go into a busy place, a city, it's enough to spend one afternoon and you can literally start feeling your cells. Maybe decaying is a powerful word, but your nervous system is going through an overload of nothing good. Your energy field contracts. It's actually not healthy on a physical level, energetic level. You feel it. You're in tune with your body, and you feel some of your cells are dying. That's exactly what's happening. And people who awaken to their true nature and become more in tune with their body, they all naturally start moving to the edge of the city, and then they move to a smaller city, and then they move to a smaller city, and then they move to a city which is either by a mountain or an ocean, because it creates a whole space of nothingness, which becomes even more healthy to the nervous system. And you feel it. It's an intuition thing. Even us here in the Valley of Orotava, which is a small valley village, we lived in the center of it, and both me and my wife could feel there was no energetic space. And then we moved at the edge of the valley where the mountain starts, and our field just does, and that's it. You feel it. This is not rocket science. Your body tells you when you're in coherence with your environment, with nature, with the present moment.
Yourself.
And I hope, yeah, yourself, yes.
Yeah.
So,
Well, Laurian, I am so happy that we had this conversation. And I'm like you, I feel like we could just keep talking and talking and talking.
yes,
And that's why we're doing a third one.
yes. And I'm
So
so looking forward to the third one.
yes, and I just want to let our listeners know, because I highly recommend that everyone listens to these first two interviews first, and then comes and joins us on the third interview, which is actually going to be live. The details remain to be uh, disclosed, I'll say. We will put the details out there. But for anyone who's interested in being a part of that, I highly recommend that they, whatever platform you're seeing this on, that you like and follow, because what that does is it helps people like Laurian and I to reach more people, right? It helps us reach
Yeah.
more people, which is extremely important at this time in particular on in the world. And we both feel that we have a real mission here to make a difference on in this world, and that's our purpose, right? And we aren't going to be able to do that if we don't have your help in helping us increase our reach.
Yeah.
So please like and follow and share and do all those great things that that the algorithms like.
Yes. Comment, like, share,
Comment, like,
repost, put it
and
on
that's
your story,
yes. And comment. Oh my
because this
goodness,
is,
comment for
yes,
sure. Share your
yes,
stories
trigger
too.
that algorithm.
Yep.
Share what you felt during the discussion.
Yes.
Tell how your body felt, the
Hmm.
constriction and expansion, and share, because this is valuable information. This is valuable
Absolutely.
information that can help and support a
Yeah,
lot of people.
absolutely. And oh, our internet connection is getting unstable, isn't it? Um, So what I'm going to do now is I'm
Yeah,
going to
we're back
just,
now.
okay, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to say all of your information will be in the description of whatever platform someone is seeing this on. And the live video information will be put out shortly. So please, please, please stay tuned for that. And that's going to be really exciting, because we're going to do a Q&A and allow people who join us in that conversation, they will actually be able to ask you those questions. So I think that'll be a lot of fun. And we
Yeah, that's a
can,
powerful episode.
yeah, that will be a really powerful
Yeah,
episode. So those details will be
yeah,
coming soon. And I just want to thank you again for this conversation and for really helping me as well to, of course, you're my reflection and I am yours, I suppose, as
Yes.
well. So
Yes.
thank you.
Thank you
Thank
for
you.
mirroring.
Yes, thank you for mirroring, and thank you for showing me even the pieces of myself that I still could get some peace and resolve from in. So thank you for that. I really, really do appreciate that. So on that note, I am going to say so long, farewell, auf Wiedersehen, goodbye.
Goodbye.
Sorry, I just had to do that.
That was beautiful.
So thank you so much, and we'll talk soon. Okay.
Bye bye, everybody. Thank you for being here. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for listening.